moment. Before I do that, though, we've got one of our Outlook contributors who's going to give us some thoughts on a slightly different take on the economic potential and the business potential in the Arctic North, because we're going to focus our attention right now on, I think, what's called bioprospecting and the degree to which the Arctic can be a center for development of new drugs and the sort of cutting-edge, innovative science that could be such an important part of the Arctic's future. So to hear a little bit more about that, I'm going to invite to give us a quick presentation Jeanette Hammer Andersen, who's part of what's known as the Marbio project at the Arctic University in Tromsø. So over to you.
Thank you. So I'm going to take the first few minutes just to briefly tell you what we do and hopefully show you that this could be a future business opportunity as well. Completely different what you heard so far. So what I'm saying as a headline here, Arctic marine organisms could be a source of novel medicine. That's sort of a statement that we already know is true from other organisms not coming from the Arctic, but the next one should be from Arctic. So what we focus on is the marine organisms sitting on the sea bottom, like sponges or even marine bacteria and marine fungi. We bring them into the lab. We test them to see if they have compounds in them that can inhibit antibiotic-resistant bacteria to grow, whether they can kill cancer cells. We try to then dig out, is there something new? Is the chemistry? Has these molecules been seen by someone else before? We then try to see, okay, we have something new going on here. We optimize the chemistry. We have to move them on then to animal trials to see if they work in not only in the laboratories, to see if they can kill cancer cells in an animal model. That's the next step. And of course then the main goal is to come to patients. Clinical trials where we involve patients to test to see whether these molecules coming from these marine organisms can be a new treatment. But as you can see on my slide here, I put this academia industry, there's a bridge. Because the discovery of these new compounds is really good, we can find them. We have proven that by a recent project. We have found molecules that is inhibiting breast cancer cells. We're trying now to move it across the bridge because we know there is a translational gap between academia and industry sometimes. And now we're trying to move these projects across the bridge. We have some that already have passed the bridge. So we see that there are potential to find new medicines. So the challenge is now to pick out the right projects from academia to put them across the bridge. We are now looking for investors. We see that we get some interest, and I see that we can build this bridge through the rest of the world. But my challenge and my hope for this scenario is that we can build a bridge within the Arctic and build up the industry and enable us to put the tools to really put value for these molecules. We see these fantastic marine organisms. They have huge potential. We have discovered so many great molecules that have a bioactive potential. So I really think that we now look for opportunities to build fund tools, attract a long-term investment, to build up, to really maximize the potential that we can get out of these marine organisms. So I really hope that coming together like this is something that we could discuss opportunities, because I think this is a business opportunity. The question is it an Arctic business opportunity? Thank you.
Jeanette, before you go, thank you for that. But before you go, I want to know your own opinion. Do you see the beginnings of a real sort of new industrial sector taking root in the north, in the Arctic, or do you fear that a lot of this know-how will stay, south of the Arctic? The bioprospecting may take place in the Arctic, but the commercialization, the industrialization of the products at the end of this chain across this bridge won't happen in the Arctic. What is your feeling?
That is my fear, that all on the pharmaceuticals, these really high value products, I see them, they are moving out of the Arctic region because there is the know-how and the big investments. But for nutraceuticals, cosmetics, think about macroalgae as a source of new ingredients. There you can see that there is a growing business in this area. So I think that doesn't have this long way to the market, doesn't have this high risk. So there are businesses developing. There are some biotech companies, but I think there is a huge potential to build up this bridge. You don't have to perhaps be the big pharma in the other end doing the big clinical trials, but that's of course a main goal. goal, but you can build the bridge the way to get there in the end.
Well, thank you so much for your contribution. That's really interesting. And let's give her a big hand.